Great. So, Mr. Davis, I have some questions here I want to ask you today. First of all, I want to ask you, how did you start out as a senior manager?
I started out as a senior manager at a company called Deloitte, or formerly Deloitte and Touche Tomatsu. I started as senior manager with Deloitte in about, I believe, 2012. And now I'm with Accenture, and I'm a senior manager at Accenture. Senior manager in consulting is essentially for lack of a better word, a junior partner within a consulting firm. And I got my start after working about 7 years at Accenture. I got promoted to become a senior manager.
Okay, thank you. I also want to ask you, what challenges did you face when you became a senior manager at Accenture?
Whether you're a manager or senior manager at a consulting firm, so whether it's Deloitte or Accenture, you face some specific executive level challenges. So some of the executive level challenges that you start to face as any senior manager, whether it's at Deloitte or Accenture, is how do you marry the ability to serve clients as well as leading teams to be highly performing and highly productive. You also need to be thinking long term because you're less managing and you're more leading. So when you're in a leadership position, the concern is less about how do I deliver this work that I'm contracted to deliver. But not only do I have to deliver that exceptionally well, but I also need to be thinking about long term about the client, what their needs are, what my specific client's needs are, what the overall business needs are of my client, and as well as what the firm requires me to do and what firm should do respective to the industry, respective to the client. So making sure you have that long-term leadership perspective. So there is some challenges along there, trying to balance that along the lines. But then you also have challenges of how you marry that with things you need to do personally and grow things personally in your life and in your personal career. So, for me personally, it was always making sure that you juggle those things together and juggle those things well and manage those things well. Certain things will balance out differently throughout the course of your career, and I think what helps you along those lines is time management, being able to build a plan, being able to know what you're about and what you perhaps don't prefer not to do. And as you take stock of all of that, making sure that you build that plan, execute along that plan, and then adjust as needed.
Okay, I have one final question for you, Mr. Davis, because I know you don't have a lot of time. What are some steps you have taken to become successful in your career?
I think a couple of things I've done is go into everything with I can do mindset. I'm very confident in my own beliefs and in my own capabilities and what it is I can do. At the same time, I love learning. And so if I can learn from my team members, people who are reporting to me, people I'm reporting to, from my clients, from my family, from my friends, from articles I read, from newspapers, books, magazines, you name it, I love learning. And so the combination of being able to have that positive attitude in your own capabilities and your own beliefs, so that you want to make sure you prove them out, but the humbleness to understand that you don't know everything and you need to understand what other people know and leverage what other people know to be successful has been greatly impactful in my career. There's been times when I've been challenged to go on a project and it's been Friday and they've told me I need to be somewhere on Monday morning and be an expert in a programming language I have never seen before. And I was kind of a subpar programmer. But because someone had the audacity to say that means that maybe it is possible. And because it could be possible, what could I do to make that happen? I bought tons of books on the subject, read them over the weekend. Wasn't an expert on Monday, but by Friday I was fairly competent and I was a productive member of the team. But that type of mindset of how do you get things done when things seem impossible? how do you stick to it and make sure that the job gets done. And that's one of the tenets that I always live with. Stick to things, be prepared, but be diligent, be curious, and be confident.
All right, Mr. Davis. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kadeem.
You're welcome.